Here we go. Hello and welcome to the Breaking Bitcoin Market Updates, January 13th, Wednesday, 2021. Shout outs to everybody watching and joining us for another wonderful entry in the Breaking Bitcoin Market Updates series. To discuss today's show and to talk about all things charts and TA, we've got Alex and Jason with us today. Alex, how you doing?
I am well. Thank you very much, Jack. And how are you, Jason?
Happy hump day, everyone. Hope you're slaying this market like we are right now. Of course, it's going a little bit sideways, but that is to be expected. Don't get impatient.
What he said.
Indeed, good advice. All right, so let's take a quick dive in to see what's going on in the crypto space today. Bitcoin seemingly kind of floating sideways.
Just surfing USA sideways.
It looks like we kind of holding the $30,000 support. Things are looking good, and it's given all coins the room they need to run. And run, they seem to be doing.
Especially DeFi. If you guys were watching yesterday, if you got in on any of that DeFi, you're doing well.
Indeed, DeFi tokens doing well. Certainly we're going to look at the DeFi perp in a little bit to see exactly what Jason is talking about. But we're going to take a quick glance over at crypto bubbles first. Big winner of the day, DOT up 26%, looking very good. I think it's pretty much V-bottomed out of the big dump over the last couple days, and so there was a huge buying opportunity on DOT. I slept on it, and now I'm paying the price.
See, I think a lot of people talk themselves into that. Like, I missed a buying opportunity. Because I talked about this with Alex a little bit just before the show, and DOT was looking like a full-on short yesterday. There's no, like, you didn't miss anything, but we were talking about DeFi and how well it seemed to be doing and holding up against everything else. And like looking at that, like, well, maybe it could have been a moment to enter in on DOT, but you really didn't miss anything unless you had a really good reversal system. So I really don't feel like people should think that they missed out on that, because those type of movements happen all the time. Catching them is another story. DOT looked super weak yesterday. Now it looks super strong. 24 hours is crazy.
Indeed, but you know, I'm of a different mindset. You know me, guys. I don't trade super often. I'm usually just trying to find good dips to accumulate.
You're just looking for DOT bags.
And I did promise myself to buy a big DOT pullback. That was it. I didn't pull the trigger on it. I've made my peace with it, but I'm certainly gonna look for another opportunity to pick up DOT.
Well, there's still plenty of opportunity in the market, I feel like, to buy dips.
Right. Speaking of which, we'll get into a little bit later, but Alex is pointing out a beautiful pattern on EOS that we'll get into.
Yeah, EOS BTC looked legit. All right, let's quickly shout everybody out. Today we do have a slightly abridged episode. We do have a mentorship session with the community. So mentorship starts around 3 o'clock my time, which means the show can only go about an hour and a half tops today. We do got to give the analysts time to prepare and get the mentorship session started for 3. We're going to go to about an hour and a half, guys. We'll try to get everything in as usual, but we might move a little quicker. So let's hop right into the live chat and shout out everyone who's here. Alright, Vidoosh was in here first this morning saying hello, Jack, Alex, and Jason.
Let me find out if Ben sent out the invitations for the mentorship session.
Yep, good idea. And roll, and let's see here. Let me just turn the music volume down a little bit. Sign tells me it's coming in way too loud. All right, here we go. All right, that'll do nicely. Here we go. Back to the live chat. Bring it right back up here. Let's see here. Where did I put it? All right, Marco is in here next. Sideways Wednesdays. That's one way to describe it. Shoutouts to Marco. Stun Gun in here. Good day, everyone. Floyd here. Hey, boys. Hello, Floyd. Loot Patient. Haven't seen Loot Patient in a little while. Shoutouts to Loot Patient. We got Crypto Bull in here. Shoutouts to Crypto Bull, doing a great job on the timestamps. Nice to have you here again.
Yep.
We got RK in here. RK, premium member RK is in here. Reverse hump day on the daily chart. Yeah, for sure. A bit of a reversal.
No matter how you invert it.
Yep, a little hump day during the week. We are in the 13th, kind of a hump day of the month. It's crazy how fast time is flying. Before you know it, we're going to be into February, but let's keep going. Grant Parsons in here. Hey y'all. S. Hyatt saying good evening. Good evening to Mr. Hyatt. Philip Carr in here as usual. Best intro graphics on the internet you boys have, I reckon. You know, they're not bad. And Cap Futures, a friend of mine, I got to start trading, made his first successful trade, 85% gain on CTRM.
Ain't too bad.
Well, I'm sure he's a believer. All it takes is a bit of beginner's luck, and he's going to be degen longing every breakout.
Just make sure that you make him remember that 85% trade moving forward, because he's probably going to be disappointed that everything's not over 85. That's one of the downfalls of beginning trading, to where you kind of get lucky a couple times where you're like, man, this is so easy, and that's when it really falls apart. So I'm sure with you as
probably the worst thing that could have happened to him,
right? But with you as a friend, you'll likely be able to tell him and talk him off of that. Like, oh, I'm just going to go all in on this. That beginner's luck mentality, man, is a real killer.
Yep.
The best thing to do as a friend is to talk him into a shitcoin that'll lose a lot of money on, and then he'll learn his lesson.
Yeah, that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
You need to rug pull your friend for character.
Yeah.
Best thing you ever did to him.
All right, let's see here. Who else do we have in here? Soki Cat saying, how is that new router? You know what? The modem and the router are looking good. I think after yesterday's stream, which had no hiccups, it might have very well been the router that was at fault in the whole issue I was having.
We even had more people watching the show yesterday, so apparently Jack's router was just blocking people out too. So
yep, working good now. So shout outs to Skokie Cats, Jezza Coin in here saying sup guys, Alex Bowler in here doing amazing. Oh wait, not me. Okay, all right. So yes, everyone's doing amazing, but apparently not Alex Bowler. All right, Alex.
Sorry to hear that, bud.
You'll rebound, buddy. Make sure you stack those sats and position size appropriately. Ostrich Coin in here. Says hello, and let's look at Link. Yes, we certainly will look at Link. Dark Rico. Nice to see Dark Rico in here. What's up, buddy? Cavano Trades. Wow, finally catching it live. Yes, you are. Welcome to the live stream. Nice to see you here, Cavano.
IRL.
Cavano. And Cap Futures is in here, and David Rice saying good day all. Also good to see David. I see, these
lots of familiar faces.
Lots of familiar faces. Lots of the I think UK time zone homies in here. Several of these guys I believe are in the UK, which makes it about 8 p.m. over there. 7 or 8 p.m. I believe, so they're catching this in the evening. It's just the afternoon here for us across the pond. Pour a drink for me. Indeed, pour a drink, or in the case of David Rice, smoke him if you got him. All right.
Buy some fun.
Let's quickly look into the news stories for today. All right, we've got one here. So there's a new SEC appointment, right? Or at least a rumored SEC appointment, which, if you've been following this space for a while, if you've been following our reporting here at Cracking Crypto, you'll notice there's a bit of a trend afoot within the regulatory space. They seem to be tapping, at least in the US, they seem to be tapping some blockchain experts or people from the domain of blockchain to be staffing some of these high-profile positions. So the year's 2021 and the nation's in crisis. Okay, well, hold on. I need to avoid using certain keywords here, so I may avoid reading this part here. And let's see here. So Gensler is apparently a MIT blockchain academic, spent most of his life working at Goldman Sachs. Great. And preparing to take on the role of chair of CFT. Oh, he did chair the CFTC, and now he's potentially being rumored to take on chairing the SEC. And this article talks about his experience in blockchain, working at MIT, and so is he a friend of crypto technology. And apparently Gensler is a believer of the tech, and we have no reason to doubt he might very well be a friend of our space once he does take on a regulatory role. Let's see here. Bit of a reformer he's being described as, so he's no stranger to shaking up the status quo a bit, apparently. Let me quickly just lower the volume just a touch here. There we go, that's better. And yeah, so it looks like we're getting more and more appointments. You know, maybe the Biden admin, the incoming admin, and fresh appointments might be a good thing for the space. Lord knows, we seem to be entering the decade of digital currency. Will they push their technology on us while trying to snuff out ours? It's a tough call, but something to keep an eye on. So yes, maybe we'll explore this a little later. I have another story here today. The European Central Bank's Christine Lagarde supposedly hammers on Bitcoin in a speech at an online event on Wednesday. Lagarde said Bitcoin was a highly speculative asset which needs global regulation. So she describes
Christine Lagarde needs regulation.
Tell me about it.
You need to be regulated, Christine.
Yeah, you tell him, Alex.
Shut her down.
Shut her down.
Christine Lagarde says Bitcoin facilitated funny business and needs to be regulated at an international level.
Well, I think the ECB facilitated funny business, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're like, well, that's not the funny business we wanted.
ECB got caught letting businesses know what their rates were going to be ahead of time before other businesses, huh?
Oh, that's technically insider trading to me.
Yeah, so she
well,
described...
it's not insider trading when it's the government who sets the laws.
That's true. They win. Now give them your paycheck.
Little do these boomers know they are on the way out, and a new class of financial experts will hopefully take their place. The crypto renegades may very well take some control of the financial system in the future, and our technology will end up displacing theirs, whether they like it or not. But yes, he describes it as a highly speculative asset, and which has led to some reprehensible activity, including money laundering, and any loopholes need to be closed, according to a report from Reuters, who was privy to the speech. There has to be regulations, she says. This has to be applied and agreed upon at a global level, because if there's an escape, that escape will be used, she said. Right. So she's basically saying that the jaws, the pincer movement is coming in, preparing to squeeze people out, and any kind of escape is unacceptable. Humans have no right to escape whatever the government decree is. So, I feel like I'm in Star Wars, stuck in the garbage. What's that garbage chute scene where they're stuck in the compactor, and you're begging R2-D2 to friggin' turn it off before you get crushed by the EUs.
Yeah, and then
Who's
Family Guy.
R2-D2 in this analogy?
And then Family Guy had the episode where they found a couch in that same room and they had to take it.
R2-D2 is the crypto regulatory, or not but the crypto industry. Got maybe it's Satoshi in this case, or it's just the devs and the people fueling the innovation in crypto. They're going to provide the escape. They're going to open the escape hatch and let us slip out right before the compactor crushes us all for good. So, on one hand, we have maybe good news coming in the form of this Gary Gensler appointment to SEC chair. We do have the comptroller of the currency in the U.S. as well, being that former Coinbase CEO. What's his name? Not Armstrong, but was it Armstrong? Either way, between that and potentially a pinch from the other side, where they do want to look into curbing the rise of crypto and Bitcoin. I mean, I'm not surprised, right? Things are looking kind of rocky on the in the global financial markets, and
it's
Bitcoin shining.
Out there,
and I'm sure some of them are worried that people are going to find an escape. That's pretty much a great way to describe it. This is potentially an escape away from an imploding system that's just flooded with unsustainable credit. I'm not surprised that they wanna box everyone in. There should be no escape from whatever reset they have coming for us. All right, that about covers that quick recap of the news. I see quite a few people showed up in the live chat in the meantime. They're just going to quickly shout out the few that came in here. AJ's in here now. Shoutouts to AJI in the live chat. Subtext is in here late. No, you're in here just in time. Alex Bowler, already shouted him out. Adam Cohen, the longer BTC stays in this range, the more I am worried. Yeah, maybe. I am
That's
hoping
what it's
for
designed to do.
I am hoping for another move up. This is it. We didn't touch
I
20.
think we're gonna get a short term, at least intraday, intra-week. I think we're gonna get price to the upside, but that's just how I feel right now.
Seems that way. Seems like we found a bit of stability in here. I do have a limit long set up for 27K-ish. Maybe that'll get filled if we get a gnarly wick down. Jezzacoin in here. Shout out, I think I already shouted out Jezzacoin. Louis M in here. How's that regulation working for the USD? Philly, I mentioned Philly. Subtext, I did. Nice hash login is in here. Pepe Le Trump, indeed. And all right, everybody shouted out. Everything caught up on. We are doing good. Only 20 minutes into the show. And that gives us a little over an hour to power through our show schedule today. Once again, a reminder, we are going to the mentorship session today. If you are a premium member listening in, don't forget to join the mentorship session after the show. But that doesn't
And if you want to know more about the mentor sessions just in general, make sure to get in the Discord, guys. Like, you got to get more information if you really want to come hang out with us.
Yep.
Indeed, Discord is a very powerful tool, so do check out the
And
Discord.
it's free, guys. Come on.
Yeah, the Discord part's free, indeed. The general community's free. The mentorship sessions do require a bit of premium membership, but I'm certain if you spend a little time with us, you're more than
Here's the
excited
thing.
to join.
You know that you're going to be staring at charts for all damn day anyways. You might as well have some people to talk to while you do it.
Yep, join a like-minded community of investors, of professionals, of very like-minded and well-tempered, well, what else can I say, professionals willing to learn, hungry, and excited about crypto. You've probably found a home, and if not, you're going to find a home here within our community in short order. All right, I've shouted everybody out. All the intros complete. Gonna go another hour or so. Make sure you put your requests into the live chat, and I will be collecting them during the course of the show, and we will be getting to your requests in due time. For now, let's hop over to the live scene here, and I've got Alex. Your chart is up. We're looking at the Bitcoin USD perpetual swap on BitMax.
Yes.
And you tell me what's
Take me
going on.
through it.
Yeah, what's going on in the markets, and up or down. I bet that
sellers are really petering out here. As you can see, our downward trend lines are getting less steep. We have here a very nice hourly continuation long signal here that appears to be in the process of completing. If we do, it will help complete this lower time frame inverse head and shoulders pattern. In here, which I mean that would only take us to like up here, but this is a sign. I'm taking this more as a sign that we're likely to break upwards rather than as a trade that we're going to take. So I think everything looks good here for us to just swing back up towards 38K on Bitcoin. I was kind of expecting / hoping for another retest down here of 31.5, 31.750. As you can see, there's a nice little patch here on the CME where it clearly wants to be filled in, but I don't know. It doesn't look like it's happening right now. So we're going to swing back up before that happens. But if you've been paying attention only to Bitcoin during this time, then you're probably making a serious mistake, because if we come over here, you'll see Bitcoin dominant. Okay, apparently there's another data artifact on the market dominance sheet, but there we go. As you can see, market dominance continues falling.
That's weak. Yeah.
Very weak.
That's just stair step down, man.
Let's pull out the weekly. Well, we're still only on hump day. There's a full rest of the week to finish up here. But right now, it looks like we're still moving down on Bitcoin dominance, and I think that's really clear here from the disparity between Bitcoin's price gains off the bottom today, which is respectable, 2.5% from yesterday, versus Uniswap coins, which are up 10%, DeFi coins, which are assaulting their weekly highs right now. Privacy coins doing the same. This looks pretty bullishly postured. We're kind of just resetting our oscillator here, getting ready to turn up. Exchange coins finding some pretty strong support in this spot, although not necessarily as strong looking as DeFi and privacy coins are. Shitcoins finding that support we're looking for, on top of the swing highs of September. Very bullishly postured still. We are, however, facing resistance right now. And even though DeFi is also looking bullish, I do want to point out that this is also facing resistance and potentially forming a
bearish divergence.
Yeah, forming a rising wedge. That's the term I'm looking for.
Yeah, that in that last bit of hourly data, you are beginning to get bearish divergence.
Mm-hmm. So it's something to keep our eyes on here. Obviously, if there were going to be a reversal on this, it would be after a retest of the highs, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So not ready to rush into it yet. But if we broke the high and held it, then, I mean, yeah, gosh, rush. I would rush into DeFi perp in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
DeFi perp. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, at that point, we're probably going to be not calling for another alt season. We're going to be calling for another DeFi season.
Yeah, I mean, because DeFi coins have had a day. Let's just scroll through some of them. They're very incredible looking. So there is, of course, DOT, which is perhaps the missed opportunity of the day.
It wasn't our trade, bud. Yep. It was looking like a short. I'm glad I didn't put the short on.
Yeah, I still want to see it pull back here. Oh, well, you don't always get what you want. But if we don't close a new high, then that's potentially weak.
Mm-hmm.
AVAX here made a new high yesterday, just kind of hanging out at that high, consolidating. I think Link is pretty bullishly postured in this spot. Band 2. I think Band is arguably better here.
I mean, you'd probably be hard-pressed at this point to find a DeFi token that's really sucking right now.
Yeah. What I like about Band is this complex inverted head and shoulders here. We break up out of it. We come back down. We retest the resistance here of this bottom, and we have this bullish reaction off of it. This is exactly what you would want if you were going to buy a pullback, and then
looking for bullish continuation.
Yeah, exactly. And then the 12-hour is giving us that signal at the end of today, where we're reset. Here's a little bullish divergence, and we're crossed up. But WADA's not there yet. I don't even have our baseline open right now. Gosh, let me get that on.
Ooh, would not be a signal.
Well, it wouldn't be a signal because, yeah, we're below the baseline. But once we get a cross up on the daily, we will be good because we're above the daily baseline. Kusama, looking a lot like there's going to be a continuation. Well, it can't be continuation long because we briefly broke down the daily baseline here.
Yep, initial signal.
Yeah, but if you're a breakout trader, this is a blaring signal, especially if we close this new high. Very bullish, very bullish. AAVE new high today. I almost took a long on this for us yesterday, but we didn't quite close a new high, We were still below resistance in my eyes. So I was like, we'll see.
Right move. That's the right move.
Maybe we'll take the signal end of today still.
And to be honest with you, looking at WADA there, I would have had a few thoughts about the way that it's stair-stepping down.
Yeah. Well, also yesterday's close, we didn't have a lot of the confluence. Like
Exactly, yeah.
volatility isn't there. There's no momentum. We got a cross up, but we didn't even make a new high. And I looked at it and I thought, I'm not so desperate for trades for the group that I need to put this up. We'll just wait.
And people looking in, like, that's one of the most most important thing that you can do when you're trading is when you have a system and you've built it, it's so easy to talk yourself into taking a trade that you just want to because you're looking at it, because that FOMO instinct kicks in. Everyone has it. But even when you miss good trades, you'll find that, like, keeping that discipline of keeping you out of it, every single time that you don't get wrecked, it's way better than just, I missed some profit. Like, you have to flip that script in your mind, because yes, that looked good, but the indications were not there to take it. And yes, it would have been a great one, but think about how many times you would do that in the future, not following your rules. Like, as soon as you start breaking them, it's kind of over. So never feel bad about missing movements and missing signals and stuff like that. So I completely agree with you. You should not have posted that. And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
Shout outs to Boris Bitcoin, who just happened to request AAVE, asking us, hey guys, any thoughts on AAVE? Well, hopefully
AAVE's kicking ass.
Alex's quick rundown of AAVE answered your question, Boris, but shout outs to Boris.
All signs point to continuation. I mean, it's making all-time highs today. What more can you ask for?
Alt season, baby.
I told you guys in the chat, they're like, well, where's Bitcoin heading? I'm like, I think we'll be at least 35.6 by the end of the show. We're at about 35.6 now.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wanted to take this trade yesterday on the break of this trend line, but we did not have a full cross yet. We were, this was another one. As you can see, I already had it watch listed for yesterday, but we didn't have it. There was no signal here. We weren't fully crossed here, so we didn't take it. And it's a shame because we're up so much today, but you got to stick to your systems, guys. Otherwise, you would be asking me why I put the trades up and we didn't have a signal yesterday if we had gotten stopped out.
Oh my God, are you telling me you're not throwing caution to the wind? It's alt season. You're supposed to be reckless alt season.
It's not yet. We don't know that.
It's official. I just got the call. All right.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, did the CEO of alt season give you a call?
Yes, the CEO of alt season.
Hey Jack, sorry I've been taking a long break, but it's time to get back to it, bud.
Yeah.
Indeed, I did get a memo from him, Priority 1 memo, telling me that we're officially ready to break out.
Refinance your house. It's crypto season.
He's telling me to deploy the funds right now.
Yeah, I would consider this a continuation signal on RUNE here.
RUNE looks stronger than most of them because it's clearly breaking the highs.
Yeah, this is a good 40% today too. So, this is, I don't know. It's just the candle's just a little too big for me to want to buy. We're too far above the qualifying line, and I mean, I could cheat a little and call it a continuation trade or baseline bounce, but
that's not completely true, because looking at it right now, that looks way overextended. You could get a sell-off intraday by close. That thing's way closer to baseline, and it's going to be a great
tomorrow
signal.
we could pull back to retest these highs right here, and maybe tomorrow is actually the ideal day to buy it. And it'll be the better signal.
Never gets shaken out just by, like, things move up fast and they also move down fast, and sometimes you need to wait a little bit to get that perfect position.
REN. Kind of retesting weekly support here, holding the trend line, everything looking good on REN.
REN was one we took last night. Already hit TP1.
Holding the weekly baseline, which we just got this week. We need 60 weeks of data to be able to have a baseline here. So
we took the BTC pair on REN though.
Well, we can always check the 20 weekly. That's why I got this around. Holding above that, everything looks good.
Yep. Stop loss to break even. Let's let her go.
I think the weekly charts are really what we should be looking at right now. Like everything is up today. You guys don't need me to tell you that. Let's see what looks best going forward.
Yeah, I was actually noticing that as well, as seems to be especially utilizing a time transformation, seems to be a bunch of long signals on weekly charts.
Yeah. I want to look at higher time frames right here. Damn it all, but Maker could keep going. Here is my argument for why, even though Maker is up like 300%, it might just keep going here. About 2 or 3 months back, I was looking at Maker, and Maker's USD price just doesn't move. Let me find a better Maker USD chart here. Let's go to CoinTrader.pro.
Looks like that hourly continuation did play out.
All right, so basically, from actually no, let's even have this on. I do want the dollar actually. For the last 3 years, we haven't moved out of this range.
And now we're finally.
And we even got a super tight range at the very end right here. See, like that, so little volatility. Where's the volatility? It's gone. And then we have this big movement. We come down, we retest the high. We're right here at the previous all-time high right now. All we got to do is move up a little, close above it, and Maker is just going to keep going because it just had a 3-year-long basing period as far as I'm concerned. Because this is a relatively tight range. I mean, look at the monthly. It
is, especially compared to any other pair that you're looking their USDT value to BTC. None of them look that tight.
Yep. Right now we're over the previous monthly all-time high close. So that doesn't mean much. We still have 2 weeks left in this month. But
still
clearly,
bullish for Maker.
Yeah, we made a new all-time high. It's just we haven't closed a new all-time high yet on the weekly or daily. So I like this. I like this for Maker. I think we could just keep going. So I would obviously prefer to wait for some kind of signal. I don't, I'm sure we're above our baseline here, and if we pull out we've got to be above our baseline here. So I don't really need it on this chart right now. We can go to 7 here, which is normally our time transformation length, and should be good enough. But yeah, we don't have anything yet. We need just a little bit more. If we can get a signal while breaking the all-time high, I just say just go for it on Maker. At that point, there's literally almost nothing more you could ask from technical analysis to tell you to buy something. When you're breaking an all-time high, which is almost always a very bullish sign, like there's if you buy things at new all-time highs, you will almost always make money. You gotta sell it again a few months later after it makes new highs. You can't just hold it forever, but you will almost always make money doing that. Your oscillator is firing. We've got momentum. We've got this multi-year basing period. So I think Maker could keep going.
That's an interesting point on the USDT pairing that I'm going to look more into a little bit later, because that makes perfect sense in my head. And looking at that could mean that Maker might be a lot more of a runner than we are making it out to be right now. Yeah.
And so as you can see, its Bitcoin pairing fell a lot, but during this time, the price of Maker stayed steady because it was just like kind of getting absorbed.
Mm-hmm.
Like Bitcoin kept rising, and then instead of Maker falling, Maker just kept getting bought. So
if anything, that shows me investor confidence in what Maker has.
Well, yeah, and the 300% pump certainly does not hurt.
Well, of course, but that's going to be the rest of crypto for a little bit right now. There's a lot of catching up to do here.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, I don't want to talk someone into like buying a top here. There's always a chance that Maker could pull back, at least against Bitcoin. If not, see, you could just get like a little pullback right here and then a continuation on Maker.
No.
Would correspond to maybe a pullback to, and maybe we already have that pullback here, but
in what we do, there's a lot of speculation. So I'm glad you brought it up, because looking at the different situations, like over time, you start building an arsenal of them. Like, okay, look at this, look at this. Like, there might be more evidence here than we believed at first.
Yeah,
I think it's a very interesting point.
So yeah, I think Maker is something to really keep your eyes on here because of that multi-year basing period. And I wouldn't have noticed that Maker had a multi-year basing period if I hadn't had an argument with someone about Maker where you know, we were like, where we looked at it and we're like, well, you know, the price never moves. But then, you know, it did just move. It moved 300%, and then you got to take a look at that and be like, well, maybe it wasn't that it wasn't moving. Maybe it was a extremely long basing period, and price has told you its direction. Okay, and Maker, I believe you.
And now you're about to go into price discovery.
Yeah, I believe you, Maker. And there, you got to admit, there's some pretty heavy price absorption here too. This is a lot of volume, and then we're right back at the same price. I guess enough Maker for now. Let's take a look at some other things. There's I think I pointed out how Band looks really good with this retest. That's good. That was something I wanted to point out. We looked at Dot. I'll tell you what. Let's do some requests, and we can.
All right, we can do that. All right, let me pull up a question we had here. This is from Mr. Ether. He says, I thought we were supposed to take every trade our system gives us.
I mean, I don't know about you, man, but my system can give me like 30, 40 trades at a time. So I literally could not take every signal my system gives us. I think what we should... I think a better way to put it is that you should not be ignoring a signal just because you don't like it.
Yeah, like
that's what people mean when they say that you should take every signal. It is true that the system that I use requires discretion in that I will look between the markets and decide which of the signals that are present that day I will take and or put up for the group. And in that way, you cannot help but have your discretion leak into it. You know, you look at it and you decide, okay, this market is looking a little stronger today, you know, for various reasons. Maybe it's just intuition. Maybe this had a higher percentage gain or whatever. But you know, my system gives me enough signals where I kind of have to exercise that discretion. I would say that if you do want a system where you take every signal and then you have there's no discretion at all whatsoever, what you should do is you should build a system that is for only a few markets. Because, you know, the system that I have, I can use on any market. So that's sort of... You know, I can't even take all the trades that I put up for the group. It's like, it's impossible. You can't take every trade that...
You'd be way too spread out.
Yeah, you're either too spread out or, you know, I don't have 100% of my account on every exchange. Obviously, that's impossible. And you can use margin to sort of...
mitigate that, yeah.
Yeah, to mitigate that, but at the same time, you know, it limits the positions that you can take, not having everything. So, ultimately, yes, it is ideal if you have a system that you can just take every signal on and never think about, but I don't have that. And I feel like even if you would need to get to the point where everything was automated.
I mean, the way that I look at it is, because I still think that this rings true, especially for anyone that is just starting off trading, because one of the reasons why I still feel so good about like saying that so much is you should take every trade is because at the beginning you should be. What you should be doing is building a system around things and signals that you're looking for and taking the emotion out of it. So you take every signal that, and that's what you're kind of getting there at the beginning is it's more like when your gut disagrees with you, no, you still got to take the trades that your systems are giving you. But like your system here is much broader over many markets. When you come into PTP, we usually are making you focus on one coin or one thing like Bitcoin or something like on a daily system. And then over time, as you get better at doing this, because let's face it, it's hard. It's hard to look at, even though it's telling you what to do every day or whenever it's signaling, it's still hard to take those and just have full confidence. I mean, even after you've back tested it. But moving forward, as you do that, you get better at that. You start realizing the emotion doesn't matter. And as you get better and your systems get better, you start noticing little nuances that you're like, okay, well, every time this has happened, then I'm not going to take this one. Like you're just making it even better at that point. I think it's more the discipline part that you need to learn on. You should be taking every trade your system sets up. And then with that, of course, like you said, I think it's impossible to completely take all human nuance out of this unless you're running a completely botted system.
Indeed, well said. Yes, we do focus on systems trading here, but the more seasoned veterans such as Alex will probably practice a little bit of discretion, particularly when, yes, we deal with so many markets and so many potential signals at once. We can only post so many.
And let's face it, we're in a little bit of a different situation than your common retail investor right now. You have your portfolio and you can find a certain amount of trades that you're looking for, but at the same time, me and Alex are out here still trying to give you guys as many good signals as we can within reason. You know what I mean? So it's like we're thinking for two at the same time.
Yeah.
It can be a little frustrating, but you also have to add a bunch of nuance to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I am glad that he pointed that out.
For Europeans, the CFDs, I can't take those. There's no place I can go to take those CFD trades. I can sneak some of them, like oil and gold. There was oil futures on FTX. Last time I went looking for them, it was down. I don't know if they just took it down, but they also have PAX-G token, which is pegged to the price of gold. So you can trade that if you need to trade like a gold CFD. And the good part about that is you can get a lot of margin if that's your thing. Because commodity markets, they don't move super hard.
Mm-hmm.
Let's more chart requests.
Let's do it. Good question from Mr. Ether, though. I was happy to answer that.
I'm sure someone already requested this, but I just wanted to do it this way, so you have to go. But could we please get to the dollar?
Yes, someone did request Dixie, so if you want to start with that.
I just wanted to do a little Arnold intro.
Yeah.
Get to the dollar. Get out of here. What are you doing, America?
I do have a Dixie request from Vidush, and so if you want to take a look at that.
Lower time frame. So Jason pointed this out to me a little earlier today. Kind of a pretty big rejection candle about an hour ago on the Dixie.
We are seeing follow through on Bitcoin right now too.
So last couple hours, reversal in the Dixie. Last couple hours, reversal in Bitcoin.
Told you that CL would have been good.
Yep, good continuation along right here. Very good person. So yeah, like I said, we're thinking, at least for now, this 38,000 area.
Yeah.
At least an initial take profit area.
I think if you look at that, I think there's a larger inverse head and shoulders with it. In a smaller one. So the smaller one you were looking at, and you measured it out yesterday, which would have put us right up to 38. And I think that's what we're going to complete right now.
Oh, this one.
The larger one we measured yesterday, and then we had a smaller one within the larger one today.
Yeah. Well, that I gotta move that right there.
And I believe the measured move that we measured yesterday would have put us right around 38, around that trend line.
Mm-hmm. Well, it certainly looks good for completion at this rate.
Mm-hmm.
what's next on our agenda? Oh yeah, well we're looking at the dollar. I guess I haven't really said enough about the dollar here. Guys, it's just basically trading sideways. It's consolidating at the low right now, is I think what people would call it in professional parlance. It's bottoming behavior right now. We're below some reasonably frequently used trend lines. This is the daily 20 right here, but you can imagine that 21 is essentially right over it. I think for now that there's just not a lot to do with the dollar except keep our eyes on it. I really do think we're going to get a follow through on this trend, but it's a brand new trend reversal. So there's going to be some sideways before we get any kind of movement on it.
And you just don't know what's going to happen with these next few weeks in America. You know, it's going to be a weird one.
Indeed. All right. That would be the Dixie, the other half of the request. Oh, you know what? Let's just get to the other half of the request. He also requested EOS. So let's take a quick look at the EOS chart.
Maybe. Who knows, guys? EOS. All right. So we did want to look at EOS anyway. So let's start with EOS Bitcoin because that's what's interesting.
Yep. Some major bottoming behavior on EOS.
Yep. Let me turn off that average here. Turn off the baseline. And I just want to talk about this beautiful bottoming behavior right here on EOS Bitcoin. Oh my goodness. So what we see here, let's go back to slightly higher time frame. Okay, so we find support here, retest the low, come back down, and we try and make a new low. And sellers just push so hard into here. We just can't. Yeah. Look at sellers just get completely exhausted here.
The trend is very easily visible there on the 4 hour because you can draw the line right there. You break above it. Now you're testing the top of it. Wait for that to hold continuation. It looks really good.
Yep. I gotta say, there's an awful lot of volume divergence here, isn't there? So look at the amount of volume on the dumps on the way down, right? So, you know, yada yada. There's more volume. Volume rises here. We're falling. There's a little bit more volume. We fall some more, etc., etc. Some pretty heavy volume here on this dump. There's way more volume here. We don't even budge right here. Look at that. Where did all this volume go? It got bought up. Someone bought it. I think this is pretty interesting right here. We don't have any kind of daily signal yet. We're just starting to peak above the daily baseline here. But I am really interested in, well, let's just say I'm picking up what EOS is putting down here. This is really beautiful. So EOS USD, let's come back over here, take a look. Speaking of trading sideways for quite a while, where did all of EOS's volatility go? Where'd my train line go? There we go.
I'm getting close.
Let me use a slightly higher time frame here. There we go. You know, as far as I'm concerned, we are incredibly close to breaking this trend. And when we do, it's going to be a very strong movement we have in this direction because of this, this lowering volatility over time, which is, of course, always followed by high volatility. Low volatility follows high volatility. High volatility follows low volatility. So much like Maker had that long basing period, this is its own kind of basing period with reduced volatility over time. The only thing that has me concerned is this chart reminds me of one other chart that had reduced volatility over time and everybody was expecting a breakup. And that is Bitcoin USD in 2018. Where's Bitstamp? Here we go. Right here. So that's the argument against it. Remember, everybody had this right here, and it's like, oh, we're just definitely going to break up here. And then, of course, we all know what happens. So, argument for, argument against, but the EOS Bitcoin pairing sure does look nice. What's next?
All right, shoutouts for the EOS request. Let's move into the next one. This is important. This one is Ethereum. Adam Cohen says, can you look at Ethereum? I feel like it's due to catch up to its Bitcoin pairing. And Cavano Trade says, once Ethereum pops a new all-time high, I'm thinking it's going to go parabolic. So, people's eyes on Ethereum. What's it looking like?
Especially with 2.0 and all that stuff. I mean...
Well, I definitely think that the long-term chart is there for what happened to this trend line? Where's this trend line? You know what? That's cool. I've got too many lines on this chart anyway. Let's just start over. Boom. Let's start this one over too. And this one has more of the trading data, which is what I wanted. Oh, and this is not hindsight, by the way, guys. We were watching this at the time during this breakout. We definitely traded this, so not speculation on my part that we had this breakout. There we go. Just want to get our important zones here. Oh, yes. And, of course, this trend. It up here a little bit on lower time frames. There we go. Okay, now it is a reasonable facsimile of the previous chart that I had.
No one uses
facsimile. What it is, yeah, it's a very reasonable facsimile. What it is that I'm looking at here is the break of this multi-year downtrend, as shown, which just happened earlier last year in July. We hold the weekly trend here as shown, and then we break out of this multi-month downtrend right here. I think we're in for some really heavy price appreciation of Ethereum against Bitcoin. So Ethereum Bitcoin is both the price of Ethereum in Bitcoin, but you can also think of it as the ratio between the value of Ethereum and Bitcoin. So as that changes, the value of each of them, the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio it goes up or it goes down. You can't see me, but I'm moving my hands up and down right now. I'm doing goes up, goes down. All right. So
I was doing it with you. Don't worry.
all right, thank you. Everybody move. Yeah, up, down. All right. So yeah, I think Ethereum Bitcoin is likely to appreciate here. I think Ethereum does have a lot more room to move than Bitcoin does. That being said, we are still at resistance right here, so it's not necessarily a time to go all in. We don't know when Ethereum Bitcoin is going to take off, because this is a very long-term chart.
Mm-hmm. Still on the
and this trend is going to be a long-term one. And I think as alt season swings into gear, presume we get the alt season swinging into gear, we're going to see a break of this support, of this resistance level. And once we do, it's just going to be going to climb. Yeah, there's look at the difference in volume above us and below us. Once we get above this high.
So exciting.
You heard it here, folks. Get above that high and strap in your moon boots.
Yep.
Going for a little bit of a spacewalk. All right. I think we've said enough about Ethereum. We do have about 30 minutes left in the show. Yes, we are wrapping the show a little earlier today, guys. We do have a mentorship session to go to with the community.
And if you like this Ethereum TA, be sure to like and or subscribe.
Yeah.
The button is right below the screen. You know it.
Yep, subscribe. We go live every day, and our analysts give their expert analysis every day, so don't miss the daily podcast. Here we go. Next one is from Ostrich. He's asking for link. Let's take a look at Linky. What's the Discord link? We'll paste it. 1 sec.
I got it. But also what I would challenge people out there that are maybe listening for the first time, go back to last Friday's show. Watch it. See what we said. See what happened over the weekend. Go back a few shows. See what happened. See if what we're doing is even worthwhile to you, or if we're completely off. I think that you're going to be actually pleasantly surprised. Like, we can't prove to you that what we're doing works, but we kind of can if you go back and just look at what we did in the past.
I think Link looks beautiful here. I think it's kind of a no-brainer pickup in this spot, especially with this very oversold weekly buy signal that we're getting from time transformation, which is, kind of completing this week, but we're still mostly just trading sideways here on lower time frames. We have this very nice swing failure pattern, which is continuing to play out. We're recovering above this support level that I've drawn out right here. Resistance, support. This is a weekly level, by the way. So yeah, Link USD. Very nice weekly continuation signal that we got. That we got this past week. So you would probably still be in, because the stop would be wider on a weekly one. But you would have had to go through some drawdown. The daily looking very good here. Retest of support. I do like that. Feels like this is more what would have been drawn, right? Kind of a fake out. Very interesting. Yeah, we don't yet have a daily signal. I believe we're above the baseline. Yeah, we're above the baseline. We're waiting for a pull up here, and then we'll have a continuation long signal on Link. But as you can see from the Link Bitcoin pairing, I think Link stands to make some pretty heavy gains here. So, yeah. What's next?
All right, let's keep moving along. We got quite a few requests left, and only 30 minutes in the show, so we're gonna turn up the speed a little bit here. Let's see if Alex can keep up. Shout outs to Ostrich and the Link. Next one is for Ren. Comes from Forex Meister. Alex, update on the Ren and Stimpy show. Yeah, I think we put the group into a Ren trade. It has been going good, hasn't it? So just a quick.
That was actually Jason who put us in the Ren trade.
Yay! Looking for my Stimpy coin.
Yep. So I believe everything looks good to go here for RUNE. So we have a breakout of this consolidation triangle, essentially. So as you can see, we kind of just consolidate around this point of control. We break up out of the triangle, retest, move up, retest again. Very solid retest, very good follow through. And we do have not quite a 12-hour buy signal here, but we are back above the 12-hour baseline. We're just kind of waiting for our oscillator to catch up here. At this point, if you're not already in RUNE, I would wait for RUNE to make a new high.
And it's important to note that the system that Alex is utilizing on stream is a 60-hole moving average, and the one that I was utilizing to get into alts is currently utilizing a 13 EMA. That's why it's much more sensitive, which I'm not going to get into the nuances of that. It can be much choppier, but for earlier entries into trends, I like to use the 13 EMA. And now, like yesterday, got us in. Now we're well set. TP1's hit. Now we're just going to let her ride.
Yeah, the faster your settings, the more sensitive your indicators are going to be to movements,
and the more potential that is to be chopped up. That's why, like I say, and why we say that anyone that's new to this should use a slower one, like 60, just to get a feel for how you trade, how you like to do it. And then as you get more nuanced over time, using something like the 13, you will know which ones to weed out yourself when looking at it. And that was a great example of RUNE last night.
You should always use a combination of indicators to get your entries, exits, signals, etc. Basically, anything you use will have just too many drawbacks on its own. That needs to be mitigated with another kind of indicator of some sort. Take for instance, time transformation, which has plenty of great things about it. As you can see, just how sensitive it is. I mean, look, if you just took the direction it was pointed in, like, okay, let me short here because we're pointed down. Look up here. Okay.
Boom.
Oh, let me long because we're pointed up. Okay, that's pretty good. Down. Up. Down. But, you also get chopped out and pushed out of stuff. You know what? I don't want to go out in, out here. I just kind of want to take this whole trend, right? You can't do that with this indicator. This indicator is going to have you whipping back and forth because it's a very sensitive indicator. So you need to have some sort of longer term, market regime filter that's letting you know whether you should be taking longs, whether you should be taking shorts, and then having something that lets you know whether there's enough volatility and momentum. And then when you have all these things working for you, then okay, well, this has basically everything that I could want in a signal. So I know there's a lot of loyal viewers who know all this, but there's new viewers too. So I thought I would go over a little bit, just kind of in brief, how the Pathway to Profits system building system works. Let's move on.
Indeed. All right. Shout outs to Forkmeister and, of course, everybody, all the premium members who took the red signal yesterday. Apparently a banger. So let's keep moving along. We got quite a few left, so I really want to fly through these. Next one, Sushi. Evo in the live chat says Sushi looks like it's ready for $9.
Sushi getting expansive in the gas station.
You know what? This is going to be a continuation long signal at the end of today. I think I'm going to take it. If we close this new high, as shown, close this high while turning up on our oscillator, maybe we'll get a cross up today. We'll see. And WADA is firing for us. I like it. And I agree. It held our trend. It held the weekly trend.
All right.
This is the weekly trend.
Sushi's also DeFi. I mean,
yeah, the weekly trend is basically straight upwards.
Yes, I see Mr. Ether talking about he's going to demo the indicator he came up with midstream. He says this is an idea for an indicator. Bitcoin as a Ethereum dollar strength indicator, based on how we were
okay,
looking at the Ethereum Bitcoin, and some of the thoughts floated by Alex inspired Mr. Ether to come up with a potential Bitcoin Ethereum type hybrid indicator. Very interesting. He says he's going to post, he's going to whip one up and post to the general chat. We're going to take a look at that later today. All right.
Muy interesante.
All right. Enough of sushi for now. Ready for the next one?
Do it.
All right. Well, you know what? Since we just talked sushi, let's move DOT and Cardano up the list. We got to get through these two. Let's do Cardano
We did
first.
DOT at the beginning of the show.
Oh,
It's kind of like got away from us.
All right.
But
Check
Cardano.
Cardano. This is for Mark Cormier. Let's do it.
I also saw one in after this that you might be interested in, Alex. It was polls.
Oh, Polkastarter. Yeah, we can look at that. I have up an ADA Bitcoin long for the group. I took this here on this cross right here. I don't know. I was expecting it to be moving just a little bit faster, but all I can say is that right now everything is still bullish. We're kind of curving over a little here on the 12-hour, but we still don't have any signs of bearishness. 4-hour. We're curled under here, but we're still above zero. We're still above the baseline. We could still pump from here. So I would say that right now there's no signs of weakness in ADA Bitcoin. I just wish it was showing a little bit more strength. I guess we'll have to see what happens here after this trading sideways right here. If we keep moving up, then that's good. If we move down, then that's bad. I will say though that because we've retested this area a few times, I wouldn't be surprised if we came down 1/3 time to retest down here.
All right. I think that concludes it.
Yes, but if we do break above like 950, 975, then I think you should long ADA with extreme prejudice. Because this chart is incredibly bullish over the long term. Nice long basing period here. We come up very strongly. We come back down and we retest the highs of that previous trading range. We hold it. Once we do take off, it's going to be spectacular. Let's go ahead now.
All right, that covers Cardano. Okay, reminder that we did not look at .btc, and that's what Bo Glue in the live chat wanted to see.
Okay,
If you don't mind, let's take another look up .btc for Bo Glue.
Nothing really for us to do with it in this moment. We're kind of at resistance right now. We're not above zero on our oscillator. We don't have enough momentum. So there's nothing that... And we're above the qualifying line. So there's literally, like, there's... Everything is telling us not to touch it right now. I do like this movement off the bottom right here on the 3-day. We made a higher low. That's fantastic. This does not have the same sort of volatility as a lot of the other Bitcoin pairings do. If this kind of does an assault on its highs, this is maybe 80% here. I know 80% is still a lot, but I'm comparing that to things like EOS or I mean, gosh, any of the low sat pairings that we've looked at over the last few days. That if they came up off their bottoms, it's like an easy 300 or 400%, just like boom. So that's the only thing that gives me pause here on the longer time frame. But on the daily time frame, as I showed you, there's really nothing that we can do for right now. So we'll just have to keep our eyes on it.
All right, keep your eyes on DOT Bitcoin. Let's move into the next request. We've got about 15 minutes left in the show. Let's fly through the next few, not leave everybody waiting too much longer. All right, this next one is AAVE for... No, we did AAVE for Boris Bitcoin earlier, skipping that for now. Next one is 0x ZRX for Ostrich. Actually, not 0x, I think that's...
All right, Ox. Let's look at Ox. Really big day today. There's not much that we can do right here. Kind of like on DOT, we're at resistance. We haven't curved up enough, and we don't have enough momentum or volatility to take a trade on this. I would be interested in it most likely if we started to make a new high, and at that point our oscillator would probably turn over too, and we'd start getting signals. So I think our system is telling us not yet. Let's make sure with a new high, and let's get some follow through, and then we'll know it's time to take ZRX here. What's next?
All right, moving into the next one. Shoutouts to Ostrich for ZRX.
Yes.
All right.
More like ostrich.
All right. When you did cover AAVE, a user by the name of Bird said, where would you even place your stop loss on AAVE if you were to enter now? So currently...
That is simple. Let me show you a very valuable tool that we here at Cracking Cryptocurrency call Quadrigo ATR position sizing. Actually, this is not the position size. I think this is just Quadrigo, but essentially you want to put it one average true range, or excuse me, 1.5 average true ranges behind your entry. So presuming that it's the end of the day right now, in theory, here we go. So the average true range is $18.29. So our stop is 1.5 times that behind us. So 114 right now, and then take profits. From just a standard Quadrigo setup is 1, 2, and 3 ATRs, because of course we want the take profits to be hit, and we don't want the stop to be hit. So these are closer proportionally, if that makes sense. And and one thing I like about it is the stop placement also makes sense, because if we ended up below here, I'd want to be out, right? Basically right below this area is where I would want to be out of this trade. If we wandered back down here, we could just wick back up or something like that. But once we're down here, it's not really interesting looking anymore, is it?
Right. So that stop looks like it's excuse me, at 114 currently. Cool. Assuming the candle would be closing right now, just to give Bird in the live chat a rough idea and how we'd go about answering that question. Yes, Quadrigo is a very powerful tool developed here at Cracking Crypto. It really does help you plot out those exits and those entries, at least in terms of I guess targets on the chart. All right.
Yeah, I mean, guys, this isn't anything that you couldn't calculate on your own. I mean, you can just pull out the average true range right here, get the price, which is actually, I think the setting on this is just slightly different. I think this is a 14 period instead of a 21 period, but nonetheless, you can do the math on your own. But hey, we made an indicator to make it just a little simpler for you.
Yep. No, it really is a beautiful and convenient thing to use once you go, but you can't go back. Extremely important to have targets so you're not kind of fumbling around trying to decide, oh, do I take profit here? Oh, it's reversing now, I should have taken. Just, these are the stop and target systems that make trading so much less stressful. And a very important thing here. All right, let's move into it because we're running low on time, and I got a few I still want to cover. Luckily, we are getting toward the last few. Let's do this one. I've been leaving this one alone for too long. It comes from Cavato Trades. He says, can we look at a stock ETF for me? Sure. He's asking for SMH, which is...
Shaking my head. Okay.
Vaneck Vectors Semiconductor.
Okay. Let's turn off Quadrigo here. Don't need ATR anymore. All right, get a little bit more screen real estate. This is very old ETF, I see. Okay. There's really nothing for us to do with this right now on the daily. We're just a little too overextended to take a trade. We just immediately popped above the baseline here, just too far to take a trade, and we've remained above it. We haven't gotten a continuation long signal because we're just kind of trading sideways. So for right now, our system is telling us that there's just nothing to do in this moment. If we get a pullback, then we'll cross under. That could still be bullish. If we make a new high, then at that point we'll get a continuation signal, and then we could take a trade on this. But until we get something like that, there's nothing to do. If you had like a 3-day system or something, then maybe there's a chance you could have grabbed a trade back here. But yeah, for now, there's nothing for us to do on SMH. So I would just keep your eyes peeled, and if there's a pullback and then a new high, then that would most likely be your signal to try and enter.
Right. Thank you very much to Cavano Trades and Alex for SMH for us. Moving into the next one, we have, all right, this is something I have my eyes on because I'm also still in this trade. Valk Mike in the live chat says, can we have some words on the Pulse Polkastar USDT?
Okay, let's do it.
I just noticed Pulse. What is its name exactly? Polkastar, Pokestar?
Chart, by the way, is starting to really shape up here. Like a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Seems to be the trend.
Essentially, we are trading at resistance right now and have been for about a week. I would keep my eye on it, and if we can break and hold $1, then I would go back in. I say go back in because I was in a trade from here to here. I took profit here, and then we have not had a more significant pullback that I was kind of hoping for, maybe down to like 60 cents. So what we want to do is we want to wait for our oscillator to cross back up. We're definitely above the daily baseline here, and then we'll have a good signal here to re-enter. But until then, we're still below resistance, and we could just fall down here. So nothing to do at this time for pulls.
I think relative to the Ethereum pair, it's been most sideways.
We'll take a look at that.
That, or I think it got wrecked after Ethereum broke out. Yeah.
Also nailed that trend break on 1 inch yesterday.
You did. I was looking at 1 inch earlier today. I think it's still possibly good to enter.
It was just beginning yesterday, so.
Unfortunately, the built-in Fisher here is a little broken, but
actually looks good. So I think I'm gonna stick out polls for a bit.
It doesn't look weak. It's held on really strongly. A lot of other alts that look good did pull back pretty significantly, and Pulse didn't even do that. Pulse is just like still right there at resistance.
Yeah, it's been a relatively steady hold for me when I got in, 2 weeks ago now?
Yeah.
Definitely got battered.
I think we entered at the same time, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So I think it got battered a little bit with when Ethereum skyrocketed. But compared to the other alts on Uniswap, it's fared fairly well. I'm fairly confident to take this thing. Clearly the community knows something, and nobody's selling. No huge wicks to the downside. Polls looking strong. All right. Likely only a few coins left to do, so let me just get to them right now. One is a question. This is from Cavano. Question for the pros. How do you manage your alt BTC pair trades? Do you hold BTC and trade spot for longs and margin accounts for shorts, or something else altogether?
I treat every account differently. I mostly stay in Bitcoin, to be honest with you, but I'll use 3 commas to manage everything within my alts, but like I'll have just a bag of USDT. I'll have most of my stuff in Bitcoin, and then I can just use those accounts separate to manage each type of pair that I'm looking for. That's in a nutshell how I do it.
I think Bitcoin pairings can be pretty hard to trade when there's not access to margin. So, having to have the Bitcoin on hand when you normally keep a USD account, which I do. My trading account is a USD trading account. I tether up when things look difficult. I don't, I will obviously hop into Bitcoin for long trends and stuff like that. But, I see myself more as a USD trader. So I try and only put up trades for USDT alts for that reason, because it really sucks having to switch from USDT to Bitcoin and then into the alt, and then out of the alt into the Bitcoin into the USDT, and then try and calculate what the hell my profits were in the midst of all this, including fees, including the movements in between me dumping from one into the other, into the other, into the other, into the other.
Yep.
So I'm with you. I think it's it can be a little difficult. For that reason, I try and only put up trades that are either alt USDT or alt Bitcoin, and you have access to margin, like Binance margin. So you only have to have a little bit of Bitcoin, and then you can do the rest of your trading because you can margin that Bitcoin to have more Bitcoin, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's probably the best ways to do it. Stick to futures, stick to Tether, and stick to margin Bitcoin. And not that I am suggesting that you put all of your Bitcoin into margin and then, try and make a whole bunch of money and blow your account. I just mean, having a little bit of Bitcoin on hand and then using that instead of having to own a whole lot of Bitcoin, and then you're subject to, the price fluctuations that we all know Bitcoin goes through.
Yep, it's an interesting question, and it's something that we really try to dig into here. Maybe not so much on the show because it's kind of complicated, but this is something we go through when we're doing like the trading journal, trying to calculate profits. Particularly because Justin has a particular style, and it's very much capital preservation and valuating everything in USD, and it sounds like that's the approach Alex takes. Me personally, I kind of lean toward Jason. I'm very much like a Bitcoin bull and a Bitcoin maximalist to the degree where I do want to keep my wealth locked up off in a cold storage in mostly Bitcoin, and I evaluate things in Bitcoin. So when I do approach Bitcoin alt trades,
when he's thinking about that, he's thinking about long term, not these swings that we're dealing with week to week. He's thinking 5 years down the road.
Most of my Bitcoin spends its days writing out the spot price for better or for worse, right? So if I can just, I treat the alt pairs just as opportunities to build a bigger stack of Bitcoin, right? And I can write out the other fluctuations. But when you're actually concerned about USD, there is like a arbitrage or even a triangular arbitrage that you have to keep your eyes out. But again, it depends on the individual's approach, right? More Bitcoin oriented or a more professional, USD account type mindset.
And that's why myself, I'll keep most in Bitcoin, but then I will have another USDT account to where I can take all of those trades, and then I kind of treat those accounts as different things, where I'm building a USDT account and I'm also building a Bitcoin account.
Yep, that's how I do it as well.
Remember what I said the other day about Graph Token? If we close back above 30 cents, then that's a sign to re-enter Graph here. So something to consider, guys. I think this is really strong. Look at this. Look at this 12-hour right here.
Oh, yeah. I had some of that sitting on Coinbase.
Yeah. So I think Graph Token is starting to look really good here.
And it seems Bitcoin's wanting to push up as well.
All right, so we
interesting stuff.
Well, that must mean that the Dixie is still falling. Let's take a look and see if that's true.
Yeah, it's got to be rejecting.
It's
a little recovery.
Interesting. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's finish up. I just want to look at the broader markets real quick.
Yep.
The Dow is shaping up to potentially make a new all-time high here. That'll be really crazy. So if the Dow starts making new all-time highs, what's going on with the NASDAQ? Still kind of below the baseline, but this is bullishly postured too.
Did you end up shorting the QQQ yesterday?
I didn't. There were other trades that looked better, and I thought, I ended up putting up like 5 different CFD trades, and that was more than enough.
Yep. I was just curious to see how it reacted.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, I actually think this is really interesting. So, at this point, if these markets are going to keep going north, then that's a sign that maybe Bitcoin won't reverse at 40K. Maybe 30K was the dip and we keep going. Maybe we'll actually trade sideways between 30K, and then while we trade sideways, we'll have an alt season, and then Bitcoin will just keep going. I'm not really sure. This is a really interesting development.
You know, we've been
we'll have to keep our eyes on it.
We've been on the precipice of alt season, seemingly for weeks and months. You know, we felt it in the air, like how much. Maybe this is it. This was the fat pullback that we needed, and we're off to the races. You know, how long can we say alt season's right about here until we're actually here? This could be it, guys.
Well, that's good. Right. That seems to be how it goes, right? Like you're waiting for it, and then you're like, wait, what? When did it happen? It happened already? Like it seems like you miss it.
Well, last week we were looking at the break of the previous highs. This week we're looking at the retest of the previous highs. And then if we get the retest and we have confirmation, then we'll know.
I think a big part of this is a lot of
last week the break, this week retest, and then if we get a continuation, we'll be like, hey guys, it's alt season.
Let's party.
Yeah.
I think the previous week was characterized by a big sell-off, and there was a huge, almost like self-fulfilling kind of sentiment in the space, which was, oh, January's going to roll around and it's gonna put a chill on things, and we sold off from 40K, and everybody said, see, it's over, that was it, you know, should have sold the top in December. And I think maybe a lot of people suddenly forgot that no, the trend is still very much intact, alt season is still very much on the menu. Let's not get carried away. And you know, it shows you how quick sentiment can change. Last week people thought that's it, crypto winter is here. No, we might just be getting started. So consider that.
Last week it was like Sunday. It was like 3 or 4 days ago. People were like, "Oh my gosh, crypto's dead." No.
Yep. And here's the turnaround, guys.
Zero.
So, yep. I mean, if DOT
$3,000 Bitcoin.
If DOT was any indication, you know, we're gonna pop off and do some cool things, but hopefully it breaks up above that resistance line. All right, Mr. Ether saying, I have a 1-inch and graph bags at the ready. Okay, very nice. I envy your graph and 1-inch bags. Haha. Shitcoins look like they're capital, relative, and long on the chart. All right, so Philly long sentiment on the alts. Michael,
let's get ready to wind it down.
Yep, just shouting out the last few people. Okay. Beef flow. We've only just begun. All right, Cavano trades says he's looking to enter at 209 USD. Okay, I think that was one of the requests we were looking at. Agencies in here, Crypto Bulls in here, Boglu's in here, nice hash, and everybody else who joined us for today's show, Evo, David Rice, and more. You know who you are. Thank you so much. We got to go to wrap, and we'll see some people, I suppose, in the mentorship session coming right up. So, moving to wrap, final words to our analysts.
Trade safely, guys.
Yeah, trade safely. We're
we're
going a little sideways. Make sure to keep your eye on the alts. Of course, DeFi, like we said yesterday, which would have been a great call. Focusing
on Bitcoin is the mistake to make here. You want to be focused on alts instead in this spot.
Yeah, because while you stress out about Bitcoin ranging sideways because you can't pick a direction, a lot of things are going to be popping off.
Yeah, like turn off the Bitcoin chart, start looking through alt charts, and see what makes sense to you. And if you guys could actually do your own research. And that sounds more sarcastic than I meant it, but like, you should do your own research on a lot of these coins. You should find out what makes them tick, what the fundamentals are on them, and if the chart matches up, pick a spot for the long term. I gotta tell you guys, the real money is made in long-term trades, not short-term scalps.
Mm-hmm. But a combo of them is sexy.
All right, that's it for Wednesday. See you guys Thursday. Cheers.
Thank
Have
you
a
all.
good day, everyone. See you tomorrow. Make sure to hit that like button. Come and join us in the Discord.